Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How's everybody doing today? Again, my name is Diallo, and we're doing current events. We're reading from the East Bay Times and our local news for the day of Friday, February 19th, 2021. Woo. So who would have thought it'd be 2021, like 10 years ago, huh? Time goes by so fast, doesn't it? Heck yeah. What's that?
I thought it was just yesterday.
Man. So we're going to read a little bit of what's in the news today. There's a lot of things out there. There's what's going on in Texas.
Oh yeah, cold.
It's cold. It's colder than a, you know what?
Yeah.
It's colder than a witch's.
Their grid is just basically gone.
Yeah. That's crazy. It's been 0 degrees in Texas for like 4 days straight.
Yeah.
So we're going to read a little bit of the local news. This one is from the local news of the East Bay Times, and it's from a local school board in Oakley, California, which is about 30 miles from here, 35 miles. It says school board trustees made disparaging comments on live Zoom. Some parents have called for all the officials to resign. Unaware their virtual meeting had gone live, Oakland school board trustees stunned and angered listeners Wednesday when one used profanity to call out a parent who had criticized her, and others joked that parents wanted schools to reopen so they could just have their babysitters back or smoke pot.
They use pot?
No, the school board members, they made basically saying the parents only want the teachers to come back so that the parents have a babysitter so that they can smoke pot all day. The 2-minute exchange of disparaging remarks came before the start of the regular Oakley Elementary School District board meeting, in which trustees were to discuss what a reopening plan could look like, something many parents eagerly had awaited. But after the hearing, after hearing the trustees vent about them, hundreds of parents and others took to social media to let the trustees know what they thought of them. This behavior is disgusting, Kendra Romero wrote on an online petition demanding the trustees' resignation. As parents, we should not tolerate our representatives to behave in this manner. Romero said she started to record the WebEx meeting, which she later uploaded to YouTube when she heard some negative comments from trustees about parents of kindergartners. Oakley needs a new school board that will stand up for parents and their children, she said on the petition, which had picked up almost 500 signatures as of noon Thursday. Rebecca McElwick said she started the petition calling for the resignation instead of a recall because the latter would cost the district money that should be going to the kids. Very smart. I'm asking that the board members to resign immediately due to their egregious behavior, she said in the petition. They should no longer represent the parents, teachers, and children in this school district. On Thursday morning, Oakley Elementary School District Superintendent Greg Hetrick issued a statement taking responsibility for the matter. Trustees could not be reached for comment. Last night at the Oakley Unified Union Elementary School District regular board meeting, they were unfortunate and truly inappropriate comments made that were heard by many, he wrote. These comments are not typical, and more importantly, they are not what the community should expect from our school district. I know that we lost the trust with the community. I will not make excuses for what happened or why it happened. I am the superintendent. I am responsible and accountable, and I am truly sorry for what took place. Do you believe his apology?
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully it's,
So what happened? What happened on Wednesday? Does anybody know what happened on Wednesday? It was a big space event, a big NASA event.
Oh yeah, about the Mars rover?
Yes, the Mars rover. The rover landed on Mars. And there's one more that's supposed to land on Mars from the Chinese. And then the Europeans have a reconnaissance satellite that's going around the planet. So sometime next week, the Chinese one's supposed to land. They all launched within a couple weeks of each other because when you launch, you can't launch to Mars anytime you want to. There's a window every 6 years to launch to Mars. And that's when Mars is coming back from the sun towards Earth, and you launch so that when Mars comes around, it's the shortest point to get there. So here's Earth, here's Mars way out here. Okay, if Mars was here and then we shot off, Mars is rotating and we would miss it. But since Mars is behind the sun coming back around, we can launch here, and as Mars is coming back around, it gets to its closest point to Earth and we land there. Ooh. Let's see what we got. And let's see what we got here. It's all local news. So here's a big one. Family challenges police account of man's detained before death. So, department took more than a month to confirm death that occurred 3 days after a man went unconscious at police hands.
That was the Oakland one?
What's that?
The one in Oakland?
In Antioch.
Oh, in Antioch. That's right.
So saying they trust the police too much, relatives of a man who died 3 days after going unconscious while being detained by Antioch police officers made explosive claims Thursday about what happened, a version of events different from those given by police who waited more than a month to acknowledge the death publicly. Angelino Quinto died days after the December 23rd, 2020 incident, according to attorney John Burris, who has filed a claim against the city on behalf of Quinto's family. The 30-year-old died after an officer placed his knee on Quinto's neck while a second officer held his legs.
Oh, it sounds like George Floyd.
A police toppled him, the family said. Quinto pleaded with officers, "Please don't kill me, please don't kill me." Quinto never regained consciousness after the incident and died 3 days later at the hospital. The family had called the police because Quinto needed mental health help, Burris said. Police said officers had called an ambulance to place Quinto in a mental health hold when he went unconscious. Burris, a well-known Bay Area civil rights attorney, called Quinto's death particularly horrific at Thursday's news conference in front of the family's home. He was surrounded by dozens of Quinto supporters, many wearing blue shirts with Quinto's image. Also attending were family of other people who died in police incidents, and relatives of Oscar Grant killed by a bar police officer on New Year's Day of 2009, Ton Hall, the mother of Miles Hall, killed by Walnut Creek Police in 2019, and Richard Perez, father of Richard Petty Perez, killed by Richmond Police in 2014. There are a lot of issues wrong here, Burris said. The technique applied by officers, the failure to de-escalate, the jumping on his back, the putting his neck by putting into his neck by a knee. Given what we know, which is that we had a healthy young man in his mother's arms. The police grabbed him. They themselves, their conduct, snuffed the life out of him. We see that not only as violations of his civil rights, but as violations of humanity, frankly. Antioch police waited more than a month after Quinto's death until January 25th to confirm the incident publicly in response to inquiries from this newspaper. At the time, a police spokesman said Quinto suffered a medical emergency while police were detaining him and said that although officers handcuffed Quinto, they didn't use more excessive force, which they were lying. The spokesman, Lieutenant Fortner, said police would release more information about Quinto's death once several unknowns were cleared up. Antioch police had not released any further information as of Thursday. Ugh. Terrible, right?
It is. When's it gonna stop?
It does happen.
So it's very simple, reminiscent of
It was a white guy. It wasn't a black guy, it was a white guy. Quinto was a white guy, or Hispanic.
the Quinto.
Yeah, it wasn't a black guy, it was a white guy.
Yeah.
Which I'm actually surprised they got news coverage.
Yeah.
Usually those don't get news coverage. Because there was the case in Arizona where you had a 22-year-old kid, him and his girlfriend were in a hotel room because he was a pest control guy and he was working in whatever city. And him and his girlfriend in his hotel room, and they were messing around with the BB gun. And their curtain was open. And somebody outside saw that he looked like a gun in the room, called police. Police come with AR-15s.
The cops did?
Cops come with AR-15s. They bust down the door. They tell him at gunpoint, tell him to crawl out. Mind you, the guy's drunk, okay? 22 years old, filthy drunk. They make him get on the ground with his girlfriend, tell his girlfriend to crawl towards them. And they tell him to get on the ground in the hallway. He's on the ground in the hallway, crying and pleading, please do not shoot me. Please do not shoot me. I don't have any weapons. Please do not shoot me. The cop goes, get on your hands and knees and crawl towards me and lie face down. So he gave those two instructions at one time, which doesn't make any sense, right? So the kid starts crawling weirdly and his pants start falling down. So he reaches down and starts to pull pants off, goes, don't do it, I will kill you. And the kid's like, don't kill me. So he keeps crawling again, his pants keep falling down. So he reaches again, cop lights him up. Kills him right there. And the cop didn't even get charged. Cop never got charged, right in the hallway of a motel. And the cop was obviously trigger happy, and he was giving instructions that made no sense. Lay face down, but crawl towards me. And the kid was pleading for his life. Do not kill me. It was a white kid. Do not kill me. The cop lit him up with like 16 shots. So it's a police problem more than anything. Here's one from Spain. Interesting. 80 people arrested in riots over jailing of rapper Pablo Hasél. Like a music rapper. Huh. Protest over the imprisonment of a rapper convicted of insulting the Spanish monarchy and praising terrorist violence were marred by rioting for the third night in a row. On Thursday, police say 80 people were arrested. So he insulted the Spanish monarchy and they put him in jail. That's crazy. That's zero free speech.
Yeah.
Zero free speech. If that was the case here, literally every journalist would be in jail right now.
Yeah, right.
For insulting Biden, for insulting Trump, for insulting Obama, everyone would want to be in jail. There wouldn't be an artist, a movie star,
right,
or a politician, or a journalist that wouldn't be in jail right now. Oh my goodness. The plight of Pablo Hasél, who began this week serving a 9-month sentence in a northeastern prison, has triggered a heated debate over the limits of free speech in Spain and a political storm over the use of violence by both the rapper's supporters and the police. The ruling coalition's junior partner, the far-left United We Can party, on Thursday filed a petition for a total pardon for Hasél and another rapper, Ventali, who fled to Belgium in 2018 to avoid trial on charges of glorifying terrorism. But court authorities in the northeastern Catalonia region announced that Hasél lost recent appeal and is looking at an additional prison sentence of 2.5 years for obstructing justice and assault in 2017. Wow, they are railroading this guy. Unless there's more information we don't know about. This is a small article, so I can't say. But from the outside looking in, it shows that they're railroading it. But there could be more information we don't know about. Who remembers Bob Dole? Bob Dole, Bob Dole, Bob Dole. Right? He was a war hero whose head wasn't a war hero, but he got his arm shot in the war. You know, he always held a pen in his right hand because he didn't work.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So Bob Dole, a former longtime senator and 1996 presidential nominee, announced Thursday that he had been diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer.
Oh.
Dole, 97, said in a short statement that he was diagnosed recently and would begin treatment Monday. I didn't even know he was still alive.
Yeah.
I thought he died like 20 years ago. I thought he died 20 years ago. Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Who was running mate? Who was his running mate?
I don't know. I don't remember. It was in 96.
Yeah.
So did he ran as third party, did he? He ran independent?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So let's read some let's see here. What am I reading? Where's the paper that I want? Where are you at?
Yeah.
There's local news.
You know, these sections are kind of baffling.
I know. I'm looking for my traffic report guide, which I don't see. I'm looking for my Ask Amy page. My Ask Amy. Where are you, Ask Amy? You got to be in here, Ask Amy. Where are you, Ask Amy? No. Apparently nowhere. There's Ask. There they are.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So, again, Ask Amy. This is the advice column. This one's called Wedding Video Posting Off Limits. Dear Amy, my husband and I were married last month. This was a very small wedding with only 25 people. We had been waiting for this day for over 10 years. I am upset that one of my new sisters-in-law took it upon herself not only record the entire ceremony on video on her phone, but 1 hour into the reception, she posted the whole ceremony on Facebook. She knows we have been off Facebook for years. We don't like to share our business on social media, and her Facebook account is not exactly private either. By the time I was finally notified of this, our wedding video had over 800 views. I told her to please take it down from Facebook, and her only reply was done. She had not had any interaction with me at all since then. My other sister-in-law wants the passcode from my photograph to all our wedding pictures, as she wants to print photos of her and her siblings. I told her I've not even printed our album yet, so I'm not giving access to our pictures, which we paid quite a bit of money for. I told her I would be happy to have her over to view them during a visit. I will have them printed for her. Am I wrong for standing my ground? You think she's wrong for that? For standing her ground because she doesn't want pictures out there? Let's find out. Dear Private, it should be considered common knowledge and common courtesy that no person should post a photo or video of a friend or family member on social media without the subject's implicit or explicit permission. Your wedding was not a public performance, but a deeply personal and intimate family-centered event. No guest should post any photos of the bridal party from the wedding until the reception is over. And in my opinion, no guest should ever post any video from the wedding ceremony itself without the explicit permission of the couple. That happens all the time.
Yeah.
People go to weddings, they put video, they post it right away.
Yeah.
Some guests might choose to post photos of themselves from the reception while it's still going on. This is inevitable, yes. Some couples ask guests to surrender their phones for a completely unplugged experience. Others post signs in convenient places asking guests to please not post anything until the event is over. Your sister-in-law crossed a boundary. You did the right thing by quickly asking her to remove it. Her curt reply, done, is an acknowledgement that she did what you wanted her to do, but she is not going to be nice about it. You were also absolutely justified in denying your other sister-in-law the passcode to your photographer's professional pictures. These are photos that you paid for. They belong to you and your husband, and you should only share them when you are ready. That's right. Ain't that the truth?
That's so sad.
Now we're going to go to Today in History. If I can find it. I can't find that one.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think it's in this one. I think it's in this paper. There it is. Here's a funny one. This is about animal life. Will anything stop birds from pooping in San Jose yards? Dear Joanne, I live in Willow Glen and have lots of large trees in my yard with lovely plants nearby. The plants get covered. Also do walkways and umbrellas with white droppings. Yes, I have bird feeders and love the birds. Are there different types of bird food and feeders that attract birds who don't make such a mess, other than hummingbirds? It's nature, lady. You should have moved somewhere where there's no nature, like New York.
Yeah, right.
Man.
Yeah.
Or downtown San Francisco. They got coyotes down there. It says, Dear Lynn, I'm afraid that those trees and the welcoming space you've created, you are going to attract birds and they're going to relieve themselves in your yard. Your best option to reduce the mess is to reduce the number of visiting birds by cutting back on your feeders or rethinking your backyard organization. I can't believe I'm saying this, but let's look at poop for a minute. Birds have a system where everything that's coming out of them, poop, pee, eggs, goes through a single tubular cavity called the cloaca, and then out a vent. The white stuff you're finding is a combination of urine and feces and is more urine than not. Birds have a rapid digestive system and no bladder. I did not know that, which means things get moving fairly quickly. Smaller birds have to eliminate more often than larger birds, but the bigger birds make bigger splats. You could try feeding only the larger birds with peanuts and corn, but you might also attract birds and other animals that you aren't keen on, and the small birds would still be hanging around. Birds evacuate their bowels whenever they need to, but they most often do it just before taking flight, which means feeding areas also turn into impromptu bathrooms. By moving the feeders away from the patio, umbrella, trees, and plants, you'll reduce but not eliminate the amount of droppings they leave in the area. I'm not sure this will help, but studies have shown that red cars receive more than their share of bird deposits, while green cars go mostly unblemished. Did you know that? Red cars get, yeah, you can go.
Splatters.
Yeah, red cars get more bird poop on them than green cars. Red cars get the most, green cars get less. Interesting.
We got a red car, so I heard.
If you have the option, you might consider getting a green umbrella and patio furniture. And just a reminder that we've got a serious outbreak of salmonella among songbirds, so it would be a good idea to bring the feeders in until April, which will give you some time to consider your plan. So I didn't know that. I didn't know there was an outbreak of salmonella. Huh.
Yeah, they're out for that.
Yeah. Now we're going to do Today in History. So we're going to look at today's date, which is February 19th, and we're going to go back in time to February 19th, 1878.
Ooh.
And in February 19th, 1878, Thomas Edison received a U.S. patent for an improvement in the phonograph or speaking machines. So Thomas Edison, you know, there's an actual original recording of his voice on the phonograph. It's supposed to be the very first phonograph person's voice ever heard. It's Thomas Edison talking into it.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
He was from where was he from?
America,
No, I know, but
like New York or something like
I
that.
think it was.
Yeah, so somewhere. February 19th, 1942. This is the day of infamy.
Oh, yes.
During World War II, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt signed Executive Order 9066, which paved the way for the relocation, internment of people of Japanese ancestry, including U.S.-born citizens. So how about that? We literally took a group of people because we thought they were going to spy for the Japanese, even though they had more loyal. They were Americans.
They really wanted to be Indian American.
They were Americans, but we locked them up in a camp for 2 years
Yeah.
and took away their businesses, their farms,
Yeah.
their homes, everything. Took away their bank accounts, took away everything.
Nothing.
Crazy. So February 19th, 1968, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, created by and starring Fred Rogers, made its network debut on national education television on a forerunner of PBS. It started in 1968. Wow. So that means you have literally 50 years of kids that were raised off that. That's insane.
Yeah.
I've seen the movies and documentaries, but I didn't put that two together that it was that much. So somebody who's 50 years old right now, I have something in common with them for Mr. Rogers.
Here's another one.
There's one.
His wife made every single sweater he made.
Oh, I heard that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And people said that he was the nicest, like he was actually that person. On TV, he was the nicest person in the world. Because people tried to, there was journalists who always tried to find.
Is there time up on the bike, babe?
Yeah. People always try to find ways to knock people down. So journalists were trying to look for ways to knock people down. Like maybe Mr. Rogers was a pedophile or something like that.
Exactly.
But he did a story, one of the Rolling Stones did a story on him, and they couldn't find anything.
There's nothing.
There was nothing. He was just an all-around nice person. That's just who he was.
That's right. Isn't it great to have one?
Man.
Nice, great person.
But he even said his family life wasn't all good. Because of the success of the show at one point, he was traveling like 300 days a year.
Oh.
And because of that, him and his son did not have a good relationship for about 5 to 10 years. So it wasn't until his son was in his 30s that he started having a good relationship with his son. Because he wasn't there, you know?
Busy.
Yep. So February 19th, 1976, President Gerald Ford signed a proclamation formally terminating FDR's Executive Order 966. What? So in 1976, the FDR order to intern Japanese was still in place. That's crazy.
Yeah.
It didn't get repealed until 1976. It was in place for over 34 years. That's crazy. It was obviously not enacted or wasn't done, but still. I didn't know that. Jeez.
Yeah. How they get caught up in closets and figure it out.
Today is Smokey Robinson's birthday. He's 81.
Oh, Smokey.
Jeff Daniels is 66. Roger Goodell is 62. Britain's Prince Andrew, who actually is a pedophile, is 61.
I guess.
Benicio del Toro is 54.
Well, I like that guy. He's a good filmmaker.
So let's look at news of the weird. Okay.
I like that.
This one's weird antiques.
Weird.
Bidding has ended in Boston-based RR Auctions special President's Day online sale of presidential artifacts, which include locks of George and Martha Washington's hair, John F. Kennedy's Harvard cardigan sweater, and the pen Warren G. Harding used to officially end U.S. involvement in World War I, reported the Associated Press. The auction, which continued through Thursday, featured around 300 items from America's esteemed commander-in-chief, said company spokesman Mike Graff. So they auctioned off locks of hair from George and Martha Washington. That's creepy. Why would you need their hair? Why would you need their hair of a guy that was freaking 200 years old? That was alive 250 years ago. Why? It makes no sense. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me today for current events. I will see you next time. Again, my name is Diallo. Have a great weekend.